Then the next route of administration is intraperitoneal route or IP. So where a drug is administered into the peritoneal space. So peritoneal space, so how the drug will absorb from the peritoneal space. So from peritoneal space, the drug will be drained into the or absorbed into the mesenteric vessel, and from the mesenteric vessel, so it will lead to the portal vein. So portal vein into the liver into the circulation. It is very much similar to the oral route. Then what about the advantage here? So whether the advantage or disadvantage. So the absorption of drug getting entry into the portal vein into the liver, so it will become a disadvantage because it has to pass through the first pass effect. Such drug will go through the first pass effect, the major disadvantage of intraperitoneal route. So the majority of parenteral route of administration avoids first pass effect, whereas intraperitoneal route is one such parenteral route of administration where a drug passes through first pass effect. So preferred route of administration in case of laboratory animal, in rats and mice, the preferred route of injection is the intraperitoneal route. So fluids we use to give through intraperitoneal route. So neonates, so we give the fluids or the drugs through intraperitoneal route. In ovarian cancer also, we give anti-cancerous agent through intraperitoneal route to treat the ovarian cancer also. So what is the advantage of this intraperitoneal route? So intraperitoneal route, you get a large surface area. So the peritoneal space comparatively fairly large area, so good absorption will be there. So fairly large volume of drugs. See, fluids can also be given through intraperitoneal route. And the preferred route in case of rodents and laboratory animal is this intraperitoneal route. So that will be the advantage. So what will be the disadvantage? So you cannot give an irritating drug. If you give an irritating drug, already the peritoneal space is more prone for peritonitis. So it might lead to peritonitis. So it might lead to peritoneal adhesion. So in large animal, difficult to give it through intraperitoneal route. And if you don't have special skill or special technique, so there is more chances that you are going to puncture the internal organ. You might lead to damage of the internal organs. So these are some advantages and disadvantages. The important thing about intraperitoneal route is drug will enter the first pass effect in intraperitoneal route also. See, apart from intraperitoneal route, the oral route is one where the drug will enter into the first pass effect. Then the next route of administration is intrathecal route, or in human beings it is commonly called as intraspinal route or subarachnoid route of drug administration. So here the drug is given in the subarachnoid space. So where you get this subarachnoid space? See, spinal cord, it traverses in the vertebrae. You know, it will traverse in the foramen in the vertebrae. So the most preferred route of this intrathecal route is at the lumbar area. So lumbar area, you know, the spinous process will be there, transverse process will be there. So between the lumbar vertebrae, so the space will be there where you are going to give the intrathecal route. Suppose you have taken a cross section of this area, so where this will be the spinal cord running through the foramen, and this will be dorsal route, then this will be the ventral route. The spinal cord will be covered by meninges. You get three parts of meninges. So starting from the bottom, so the pyometer, arachnoid, then the dura mater, pad. So it is abbreviated as pad from internal side. So pyometer, arachnoid, then dura mater. So pyometer is the lowest layer that covers the spinal cord, which is fairly thin. So it is a very thin layer of protection for the spinal cord, pyometer. Easily the drug will cross this pyometer. Then comes the arachnoid. So this will be the arachnoid. Then the dura mater, the outer covering of the meninges. So between between arachnoid and the pyometer, so this space, so the space to the bottom of arachnoid, we call it as subarachnoid space. And to this subarachnoid space, you are going to inject the drug, and the route will become intrathecal route or the intraspinal route. So if you inject the drug here, so it will easily cross across the pyometer. It will easily numb this area. So what the effect will be seen, it will easily do. So lumbar area, what is the important thing about intrathecal route? So one time injection is given. So like an intravenous bolus, so if you want to give 5 ml of a drug, so the entire 5 ml we have to give it at the intrathecal route, one time injection. So it is better for So it is better to induce local anesthesia before going for intrathecal. Since it is sensitive, so that area will be sensitive. Since you are going near or you are going to penetrate the meninges, you are going to penetrate the part of the meninges, so it will be a sensitive thing. So better to induce the local anesthesia at that area. So what about the onset of action? Onset of action is quick. Why quick? So only thing it has to cross here before reaching spinal cord is pyometer, which is fairly thin. Easily it can cross that area. And another advantage is if you give it through intrathecal route, the drug can easily cross the blood-brain barrier. So more commonly used in humans rather than in animals. Why very less used in animals is the approach. So the approach to reach the subarachnoid space in case of animals is very difficult because the lumbar vertebrae will be compressed in case of animals. So intervertebral space or between the lumbar vertebrae, so you don't get the space to inject a needle. So generally we prefer epidural route in case of animal, whereas in human, so fair amount of space will be there in the intervertebral region. So the intraspinal route is commonly observed in the humans. And what are the things that you can give through this intrathecal route? Spinal anesthesia. You can induce spinal anesthesia, for example, bupivacaine. So you can induce analgesia. So pethidine or morphine generally can be given through this route. And there are some restricted chemotherapeutic agent to treat the cancer which can be given through intrathecal route. So for example, methotrexate. And also muscle relaxant, very commonly used muscle relaxant. So for cerebral palsy or for muscle sprain, so baclofen we generally give it through intraspinal route. And in human beings during labor condition, so during parturition, during labor condition, can we prefer a drug to given through intrathecal route? So generally they go for epidural route. So what is the reason? The reason being one-time injection. See, the doctor will not be knowing, see how long the labor will get extend. So it might go up to 8 hours, it might go up to 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours. They don't know for how long the labor will go extended. So that's why if you give the intrathecal route, it's a one-time injection. So obviously duration of action will be lesser if you give a anesthesia through intrathecal route. Whereas in epidural route, you can give it as an infusion. So you insert a drug, you insert a thread-like needle inside that. So you can give continuously the drug through epidural route. It is not in the case of intraspinal. So for labor, in case of humans, during labor, so they generally prefer epidural over intrathecal route. In animal, since we don't prefer intrathecal route, for animals also we go for epidural route only. So next route is the epidural route. I told you epidural route, so where you are going to inject the drug, you are going to inject the drug above the dura mater. I told you dura mater, arachnoid, then the pyometer, then the spinal cord, right? So you are going to inject the drug above the dura mater. Here the needle is not penetrating the meninges, it is not touching the meninges also. So you are injecting the drug above the dura mater. So the name itself suggests epidural, above the dura mater. So where is the place of administration? So between sacrum and coccygia or intercoccygeal, between coccygeal vertebrae or between sacrum and coccygeal vertebrae you are going to inject the drug. So most commonly in case of cattle, so you raise the base of the tail, so the groove will be formed when you to and fro, if you make a to and fro movement of the base of the tail, so a groove will be formed. So that groove is the intercoccygeal space, the C1 and C2. So between C1 and C2 you inject the needle, a small needle injected between the coccygeal vertebrae. So make sure the drug will be injected above the dura mater. So that will be epidural anesthesia. So for animals we generally follow epidural route. For human beings, so during labor, though the preferred route of the anesthesia administration will be epidural route. So owing to the duration of action, since you have to maintain a longer duration of action, we go for the epidural route in case of human beings during labor condition. See, onset of action, it will be fairly late than intrathecal. Why onset of action is late when you compare it with intrathecal route? See here, if you inject the drug here, see, drug has to pass through all the layers of meninges. It has to pass through dura mater, arachnoid, pyometer, then reach the spinal cord, then produce the effect. Whereas intrathecal route, it has to cross only fairly thin layer of pyometer, so onset of action will be rapid for intrathecal route, and it can be infused over a long time. See here, a needle is injected at the epidural space. So inside the needle, a thread like a small catheter is inserted through the needle. So you take out the needle, so this catheter will be remained at this space. Through that catheter you inject the drug. So you inject the drug over a long period of time. So for a long period of time the duration action will be there. So what kind of drugs can be given through this route? For example, local anesthesia, lidocaine, it is given through the epidural route to induce epidural anesthesia. And to reduce the inflammation, if any inflammation affecting this vertebrae, so steroids we generally give. So this is generally given through the epidural route. So next route of drug administration is intra-arterial route. See, intra-arterial route, see what is the major function of any arteries? Arteries will supply blood to the target tissue. See, if you give a drug through intra-arterial route, so it is a restricted supply. So the drug will reach to the particular tissue if you give through the artery. That's why you find a localized effect. See, the major feature of parenteral administration is the majority of parenteral routes will produce generalized effect except few, and that exception this intra-arterial route is also included. It produces a localized effect because it will supply only to the specified tissues. So during chemotherapy, see, chemotherapy or in cancer affecting certain tissue, you can easily target this intra-arterial route. And radiography, if you want to take a radiography of a particular tissue, you go for intra-arterial route. Then angiography, so angiography to locate the clot area, so you generally go for intra-arterial route. And vasospasm and emboli, to detect the emboli also you go for intra-arterial route. The important disadvantage of this intra-arterial route is the blood will be gushing at a high speed in the intra-arterial route. So when you inject an artery, or when you puncture an artery, so very difficult to control the bleeding. So if a large amount of blood vessel is damaged, so difficult to control the bleeding. So the blood will ooze out in an high speed, and it might lead to pseudo aneurysm also. So it will lead to mycotic aneurysm. You know about aneurysm. So this is about intra-arterial route where it produces a localized effect. Then intramedullary or intraosseous route, where the drug is directly injected into the bone marrow. So during blood transfusion or fluid therapy, so when there is no access, very difficult to get access to the intravenous the veins. So during that condition, generally they go for intramedullary or intraosseous route. See, for a cancerous patient, so after repeated administration of the drug, so the veins will be collapsed. So all the veins, the blood vessels, see, they search for veins in the foot also. In the feet also they will search for the vein in case of cancerous patient. If the blood vessel is collapsed, if the vein is collapsed, so no other ways to go, so they will go for intramedullary, intraosseous route for the fluid therapy and for administration of cancerous anti-cancer drugs. And in military, and in children, so generally they go for intramedullary, intraosseous route if the intravenous route is not there, not accessible. Then intradermal, so I told you intradermal. So dermal layer consists of epidermis and dermis. So you give either to the epidermis or dermis, so that will become intradermal route. You give the drug at the layer of the skin. So what kind of effect you will see? A localized effect. Since it is a localized injection, it will get a localized effect. So to test the hypersensitivity of a drug, to check the hypersensitivity of the penicillin, you go for intradermal injection. Or for tuberculosis, to check the tuberculosis, you go for intradermal injection. And for infiltration anesthesia, I told you the infiltration anesthesia, the drug will be given to the intradermal route or to the subcutaneous tissue. And certain vaccines are given through intradermal route. So BCG vaccine, it is given through intradermal route. Then intra-articular route. So intra-articular route is injecting the drug into the joint space. So the only thing to consider in the intra-articular route is you should maintain an aseptic condition, and it also produces localized effect. So for example, arthritis. So if there is inflammation of joint, generally we prefer a drug giving through the intra-articular route. Then the other route of drug administration, intracardiac. So the drug which is commonly given through intracardiac during emergency heart failures are the epinephrine. Intratracheal route, during respiratory tract infection, we give drug through intratracheal route. And another route of drug administration is intraruminal route, where a drug is inserted into the rumen. So that will be the assignment question. Example of a drug that can be given through intraruminal route. See, there will be no particular indication of a drug to be given through intraruminal route. So I have not heard of any drug that should be given through intraruminal route. See, the intraruminal route, very commonly, see, we use trocar and cannula to puncture the rumen. So why you puncture the rumen? So during tympani or gas float, to relieve the gas out of rumen, we use trocar and cannula. So apart from that, so there is no drug that is indicated exclusively for intraruminal route. So by practice, see, by empirical therapy, I told you, see, by practice you come to know what kind of drugs you can give through intraruminal route. So try to search a drug that can be given through intraruminal route. Then the third route of drug administration, oral route is over, parenteral route is over. So the third route of administration is the inhalation route or the pulmonary route, where you give drug through nasal passage or through the mouth. So smaller particles, by using atomizers, you can give the smaller particle. The gases can be given through inhalation route. See, upper respiratory tract, what will be the movement of the drug? From the upper respiratory tract, it will reach the lungs. So in the alveoli, the function unit of lung, from the alveoli, it will reach the systemic circulation. Fairly large surface area, so good absorption will be there from the lungs. See, lipid soluble drugs, if you give here, so easily it will cross the alveoli. So no problem for lipid soluble or non-polar drugs. But for a water soluble drug or for a polar drug, so it cannot cross the lipid cell membrane. So what will happen? It will stay at the alveoli itself and produce the localized effect at the lungs. See, for example, ipratropium. See, ipratropium, it is a cholinergic antagonist. It is a quaternary ammonium compound, QUAT. It is a quaternary ammonium compound. The basic feature of a quaternary ammonium compound is it is water soluble in nature. It cannot cross the cell membrane easily. So such kind of drug, it will stay at the alveoli, it will produce its effect at the alveoli itself. Then what kind of drugs can be given through inhalation route? See, inhalant anesthetics, oxygen we give it through, supplied through inhalation route, then aerosols to treat respiratory tract infection. Advantages. See, what are the advantages of inhalation route? Rapid onset of action. Why rapid onset of action? See, good surface area, so high amount of absorption, and directly the vascular supply to the lungs will be higher. So from the blood vessel, directly it will enter the artery. So rapid onset of action. No first pass effect. So you don't find first pass advantage. So if you want to show effect at the respiratory tract, it is one of the good route of administration. So if there is anything that is affecting the respiratory tract, so how beneficial it will be for a drug to move directly to that spot and produce the effect. So to have local effect also, it is a good route of administration. Then what are the disadvantages of this inhalation route? See, the major disadvantages of this inhalation route is special technique is needed here. See, special technique for administration of inhalant anesthetic, a special equipment is needed and a special technique is needed to administration of the inhalation anesthetic. And irritant vapor and gases cannot be given through inhalation route, and animals inconvenient, so they cannot accept this route. See, animals, so see, I am giving this way the route of administration, you please cooperate. So the animals won't cooperate, so inconvenient to administer a drug through inhalation route in case of animal. Then the fourth route of administration is the topical administration. So oral is over, parenteral, inhalation, then fourth one is topical. See, topical, either you can give drug to the skin or to the mucous membrane. Both are included under the topical administration. So coming to the skin, so in the skin also epicutaneous and percutaneous are transdermal. See, epicutaneous above the skin. See, above the skin, whatever you administer, the drug is administered, it will become epicutaneous. Obviously, what kind of effect you will expect out of epicutaneous route? Localized effect. So the drug will act on that local area. Then percutaneous are transdermal, where the drug gets absorbed from the skin layer. So percutaneous are transdermal. So what kind of effect you will see? You can expect the systemic effect. So to relieve the pain, or it will act as a depot. So in systemic effect, so the pain, so it will decrease the pain. For example, fentanyl patch is there. The fentanyl, it's an opioid analgesic, so it will relieve the pain. And another thing is it acts as a depot. What do you mean by depot? Sustained release. See, fentanyl patch, you apply it on the skin. So you apply it on the skin. So over a period of time, the drug will be released from the fentanyl patch and it will keep on get absorbed into the systemic circulation and produce the effect. So another patch is very commonly used is nicotine patch. See, for nicotine withdrawal, see, for a chain smokers, so what is the antidote? So if you want to withdraw a patient from smoking, so the antidote for nicotine addiction is nicotine itself. So what is the basis of using a nicotine for nicotine withdrawal? So the thing in nicotine addiction is, see, the patient, he has a craving for nicotine. So if you satisfy that craving, the nicotine addiction you can easily remove. So you give a small amount of nicotine to a addicted patient, so that will satisfy his need. So that's the reason why nicotine is the antidote to treat the nicotine toxicity. So nicotine patches, so to satisfy the need of the patient, you give nicotine patches by transdermal route. You just paste it on the skin, so it will take care of itself. Then epicutaneous, on the skin, what type of applications you are going to use in veterinary practice? Bath. See, similar to our bath, so how we are going to take bath. So general thing, so if it is general, so the bath for entire body, so you call it as dip also, dipping. Then foot bath for a particular area of the body. See, foot bath, only foot is getting immersed into the tissue, so that is local bath. So dip, it's a type of bath only to get rid of ectoparasite. For sheep and goats, the dipping will be there where you dip the entire body into the ectoparasitic fluid. So they have to get rid of ectoparasite. Then inunction, what do you mean by inunction? It's the application of drug on the skin by applying friction or rubbing. So how you are going to rub the Amrutanjan? So if you put the Amrutanjan, so you have to rub the Amrutanjan or you have to rub Iodex. If you don't rub or if you don't apply friction, you don't see any effect out of Amrutanjan or Iodex. So that process you call it as inunction. And there are certain things where they doesn't need a friction or rubbing. See, if you want to apply ointment on a area, so on an inflamed area, so ointment need not require rubbing or friction. So that is the basic difference between a lotion and liniment. See, lotion is also a fluid preparation, so where you don't use friction or rub, you just apply the lotion on the body. Whereas liniment, so it's not the thing. So for yolk gall condition, see, for yolk gall condition, so liniment is applied on the yolk gall area. So without friction, it doesn't produce any effect. So you have to apply friction, you have to rub that liniment, then only it will start producing the effect. Then dusting, see, dusting, you know, it's a mode of application of powder. Then spray in the form of mist or clothes by the spraying machine. Pour on, it is all along the specified area. It is also to get rid of ectoparasiticide. So if this is the cattle, see, all along the dorsal midline of the cattle. So if the dorsal midline of the cattle, so all along the midline area of the cattle, so you are going to apply the ectoparasiticide solution, so that will become pour on. Spot on, if you only apply it on the arm region, so only on the arm region, only on the neck region, so that will become spot on, so localized to specific area. So if you want to put the solution to the entire body and to the entire surface area, that will become pour on. So only restricted to a certain part, it will become spot on. And now flea and tick collars are also available, so to get rid of ectoparasites. Then mucous membrane. So through mucous membrane, I told you topical route through skin and also through mucous membrane. Through mucous membrane, the different routes are there: sublingual and buccal route. See, in some textbook, sublingual or buccal route, it is included under the oral route. So to be more precise, say they have given, since the mucous membranes are involved, so directly you are placing the dosage form into this area only, so they have considered it under mucous membrane. So either of them is true. So sublingual or buccal route. Sublingual, as the name suggests, you put the dosage form below that time. Buccal route, you spread it over buccal mucosa. So highly lipid soluble drug, non-irritant drugs are more preferred through this route. So what is the major advantage of sublingual or buccal route? So it will be having faster onset of action, and the major benefit of sublingual or buccal route is it avoids first pass effect. Why it avoids first pass effect? See, there is a tuft of capillaries at the sublingual region and also the buccal area. So where that capillary, it will drain into the subclavian vein into brachiocephalic, superior vena cava, systemic circulation. So it will not go into liver or intestine. So that's how it will directly go into the systemic circulation. And because of this faster onset of action, see this nitroglycerin. See, nitroglycerin, it is very commonly used whenever there is angina pectoris in acute condition. Nitroglycerin, it is not given through oral route. See, oral route, if you give nitroglycerin through oral route, it will undergo first pass effect, and the amount that reaches the heart will be very less. So that's why nitroglycerin is given through sublingual route. One benefit is it is having faster onset of action. So high amount will get absorbed, directly enter into the heart. So it will be having faster onset of action. And second thing is it avoids first pass effect. So it does not undergo first pass effect through intestine or the liver. So nicotine chewing gum. So nicotine chewing gum is also there. See, for so many smokers, chain smokers, nicotine chewing gum is there, nicotine patches are there. So many things are there. Then rectal route, per rectal route. So suppository is given, enema is given. See, to produce laxative effect, to produce systemic effect, go for rectal or per rectal route. See, for examination or surgery of lower bowel. So before examination or surgery of lower bowel, you give drug through rectal route. It will evacuate the lower bowel content, so that easily you can undergo examination surgery of the lower bowel. So if a patient is suffering from continuous vomition, or if he is having engulfing problem, esophagitis, some esophageal related problem, so the preferred route will be this rectal or per rectal route. So example is an assignment question: name a drug that can be given through rectal or per rectal route. So the major disadvantage of per rectal route in case of human beings is not acceptable. See, the human being, he won't accept. See, he want everything to go through the mouth only, so he will not easily accept the thing that is to go from another route, right? So that is one inconvenience. Apart from that, in veterinary practice, it's a very common thing. See, our first practice comes through the rectal examination only. Whatever thing, we first start our practice through per rectal only. So we don't find any difficulty in this rectal or per rectal route. Intraocular, you use a drops, ointment, antibiotic to induce tears, mydriatic drug, anti-glaucoma drug given through intraocular route. Intranasal, local decongestant snuffs given through intranasal route. Intramammary, so intramammary, it is one of the important route in case of veterinary practice. So during mastitis condition, we give intramammary. Intramammary, see here, particular indications will be there. See, intramammary tubes will be available, intramammary injections will be available. So through the use of teat siphon, you can inject the drug into the intramammary. So particular indication will be there for a particular injection through intramammary. Intravaginal, intrauterine, so for a specified condition, for localized effect, for uterine infection. So metritis, so during metritis, vaginitis, we generally infuse drug through intravaginal and intrauterine route. So this is about route of drug administration, and there are certain assignment questions related to this route of drug administration. So what are those assignment questions? So what do you mean by extra label use of drug? And only isotonic solution should be given through intravenous route, true or false? Which route is having fastest onset of action? Which route will produce fastest onset of action? Inhalation or IV? Bioavailability of drugs given through intra-arterial route is 100%, true or false? Are parenteral route of drug administration require usage of needle, true or false? Most preferred intramuscular route in case of cattle, whether it is the muscle at the rump, semitendinous muscle, or the muscle at the neck. Arrange the route of drug administration in descending order with respect to the fast onset of action, with respect to producing fast onset of action. Intravenous route, intraperitoneal, intramuscular, subcutaneous, oral route, inhalation route. You have to arrange it in the descending order. Then an example of a drug that is given through the intraruminal route. If I miss any assignment question, you write that also and the answer. So from next class, we will start the pharmacodynamics. Thank you.